welcome everybody to the January 15, 2014 Atherton Town Council meeting. We'd like to start this Town Council meeting by the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. Town Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Whitmer.
Here.
Councilmember Dobby.
Here.
Councilmember Lewis.
Here.
Vice Mayor DeGolia.
Here.
Mayor Weiss.
Present. Item number 3 on the agenda is presentations. Chief.
Mayor, members of the council, I'd like to invite Terrence J. Boyle to come forward, please. Terrence goes by TJ. I'll call him TJ from here on out. TJ is our newest police officer, hired just recently. He comes from San Jose Police Department. He has a very lengthy career, very impressive resume, has done just about everything there is to do in this business: a patrol officer, field training officer, motor instructor, SWAT officer, investigator, and just a well-rounded, experienced police officer. And it is my honor to introduce them to you. I think he is going to be an excellent individual to have on our force, and we're expecting really good things from TJ, and it's just indeed a pleasure to have him here. A little bit about TJ Boyle. He graduated in 1978 from Oak Grove High School in San Jose, where he played football and baseball. TJ attended San Jose State University and majored in aeronautical engineering. You're kidding. So anyway, I guess he's a rocket scientist too on top of it. I think his real love was baseball, and he was a pitcher and played for San Jose State and did a really good job for the team. He actually started his career back in 1984 with the San Jose Police Department, and as I stated, went through all of those specialty assignments. I was really impressed with not only his resume, but his past record and the background that we did on TJ and his motivation for wanting to be here. So truly a professional officer, and I think he's going to bring a certain amount of wisdom and experience to a department with a lot of young officers. So it's going to be a really nice fit. And it's also nice to have somebody around here besides myself and Councilmember Dobby that has some gray hair, so that's good.
Just be careful. Bill's got some too.
We got some now because in here.
Some people don't have hair.
Well, yeah. For that reason.
Right to the
It gives me pleasure also to introduce Joanne, TJ's wife of 19 years. Let's see, we have Brianna, and we have Taylor, his daughter, and we have Cameron, right? And 15 and 13. And then we have the mother-in-law, Rose, and we have Zaid. And is Brianna and Claire here too?
Claire's not here, but.
Okay, so did I get everybody?
Deanna.
Yeah, hey, thank you all for being here, and we're really glad to have you part of the Atherton family. It's very special. You know, a little story that came up, we were doing the background. Joanne is a co-owner of Falafels, a restaurant, a well-known restaurant in San Jose, and TJ took a short leave of absence to go to work for his wife Joanne at the restaurant, but she got rid of him. He couldn't make a banana milkshake. This is a true story. She said, you know, take a hike, go back to police work, and so we got him here. But we'll have to go over there and have one of those. But
yes, we will.
We won't have you make it.
No.
So anyway, we're going to administer the oath of office, and I understand Joanne is going to pin your badge. So Joanne, would you join us up here, please? We're getting off to a good start. No, you don't grow up.
Yeah.
Okay, just hang on to that. And TJ, raise your right hand. State your name.
TJ Boyle.
Do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will and
well
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties
the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
about which I'm upon to enter.
Very good.
Close enough.
Thank you.
As soon as they clear, just hand it to the city manager.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meehan.
Those of you that are family members that would like to stay for the rest of the council meeting, that's fine. If you'd like to, I'll give you a minute to, excellent, thank you.
So up on council, obviously, we are very, very happy, and we feel very fortunate not only to have Chief Ed Flint to be our chief, but to go out and recruit such outstanding talent to serve our residents. We're a special community, and we really are very happy that you've chosen to join us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, TJ.
TJ as well.
Yeah,
Thank you and welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
and that is said for all of us. Feel very strongly about it.
Thank you very much, and have a long and prosperous career here. All righty, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and move on to item number 4, public comments. Any public comments on any item that is not on the agenda? So if anybody would like to come up and speak, if you have filled out a speaker card, some people, we're transitioning into some speaker cards, so some people may not have filled out a speaker card, so we're still going to give you an opportunity to speak.
Mr. Mayor, just to, maybe I could
Please.
kind of highlight, you got speaker cards both here on the podium, at the front and podium at the back. There's some pens and back there to fill those out. If you're interested in speaking on any item, please fill one out and turn it into myself as the meeting goes on, and I'll get it to the city clerk. And then as this gives the council an opportunity to know how many people we have speaking on any particular item, just in case one's really important, maybe we could move it up on the agenda. Just helps for orderly presentations in that way. So if you're interested in speaking, please fill out one and give it to me. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Please come on.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council and City staff. I'm Laura Finucchi from HIP Housing, here tonight to present you HIP Housing's 2014 calendar. This is a contest we have every year with students kindergarten through 5th grade. This year we had students in the school districts of San Mateo, Foster City, and San Bruno draw pictures of their home and then write a statement about what their home means to them. And we receive over nearly 300 entries for this contest. And January's winner is a 5th grader, and she says, "A home contains shelter, peace, safety, and love. Most importantly, it has my family where my heart rests under their embrace." So we hope that you enjoy these calendars throughout the year. We thank you very much for your support of our affordable housing programs, our home sharing, self-sufficiency, and our property development programs. We have housing for about 1,400 people a year, and we can't do that without your support. We just want to thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the calendars throughout the year, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other speakers? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close that. Moving on to item number 5, any closed session report?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Close. Moving on, city manager's report, item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. You have the report before you. I won't go through it in great detail, but there's 3 particular items in there that might be of interest as the council goes through the report and the public. One is the animal care shelter discussion that talks about the the discussions going on at the county level for the animal care shelter administered by the Prince of Humane Society. The second talks about regional housing allocations throughout San Mateo County and how that operates and what the town's concerns are. As a built-out community, our concerns are there's nowhere else for us to build housing in town, so it becomes a challenge, and so we're looking to the state to assist us in making some exceptions. The third is a summary of some PG&E information. This was put out to the community via the town's website. I just articulated it again in the manager's report. Some read some parts of the website, some read others, but I want to make sure the information got out there. That concludes my report.
Any questions for the town manager, council?
I have a quick question, if I may.
Please.
So thank you so much for your detailed report, City Manager Rodriguez. Regarding the animal shelter report, the summary of the ongoing annualized animal control cost of $52,000, that is related to the shelter usage that we have, that we're paying. That's our annual fee. And then if the shelter new shelter is built and we have to do the new lease, the additional $4,297 to $5,749, that would be in addition to that $52,000?
That's correct.
So we would be looking at an additional maybe $60,000 on top of our annual fee.
The 4,200 to 50 something is annual.
Oh, it looked like it said per month.
Oh, I know it's confusing within the report, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
It's an annualized cost to the town as part of our annual contribution, so our total annual cost would be $58,000.
Oh, okay, that's what because.
Sorry for that, it was confusing. It was caught by a couple of you in some of our earlier discussions.
Right, I didn't get to ask for that.
I was gonna open a filter myself.
Right.
Yeah. And then just to clarify, in the CalPERS actuarial reports, it looks to me that both rates are going down for the 2015-2016 contribution rate a bit. That's on page 3.
I know the local miscellaneous one's going down. The local safety, Robert, did that one go down?
No, for 14-15, the local safety's going up to 29.5%. It's almost, it's like a 1.9% increase over what we currently have this year.
Okay, so that's
the current rate is 27.87%, and projected for 14-15 would be 29.5%, and that's for public safety. For miscellaneous, the current rate is actually 11.1%. It was going to be 15.8%, but we paid down the side fund, and so when we paid down the side fund, it took off the percentage, reduced it to 11.10% for this fiscal year. So projected in 14-15, our rate would be 11.84%. So that's going up about 0.7%.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. That's it.
Any other questions for the town manager? Seeing none, let's move on to item number 7, Community Organization Roundtable. We have none. Moving on to item number, the consent calendar, items number 8 through 13. These items are routinely just done in one motion, so any member of the public or staff that would like to pull an item, number 8 through 13. Seeing none, council members.
I just have a correction on the minutes of December 18th, item on page 2. I thought that the roll call was 4-1, not 5-0 up at the top for the vice mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I think some members of the council may have articulated some changes to the city clerk. Maybe she has those already?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna fix the voting.
You didn't get any?
No, I did not. Okay. The voting.
Yeah, I gave my comments to the city manager, and he said that he was having them updated.
Yeah, there was, based on the video and the actual actions taken, the minutes are incorrect.
Incorrect.
In terms of the
Right.
motion, so
Okay.
those need to be administratively corrected.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll change that, and we'll also change the comments made by other council members related to voting.
Well, there was the
I'd like to know
voting
what
on
they
the,
are.
the voting on the, for the vector control was not correct.
Right.
At least in response to me, I don't know how everybody else read it.
That one and the mayor, vice mayor one too. I think.
That's correct, okay. So we'll have that corrected, amended, please. Any other council members, any comments or any comments on items number 8 through 13? Any items wish to be pulled 8 through 13? With the corrections noted in the minutes, can we have a motion to
So
approve?
No, the public may want to.
Oh, back out to the public. Any additional comments made by public
On the consent
on
calendar.
the consent calendar, or to pull an item on the consent calendar? Seeing none, we'll close it, bring it back to council.
So moved.
Motion's on the table. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to the public hearing. We have no public hearing, we're going to the regular agenda, item number 14, Menlo Atherton Little League improvements at Holbrook Palmer Park. And we're going to have staff, Mike Cushwater, please. Cheers.
Yes, Mayor Weeks, members of the City Council. This item seeks council direction and approval of business points for a facility agreement between the town of Atherton and Menlo Atherton Little League regarding the construction, use, and responsibilities for construction and ongoing maintenance of improvements to the existing Little League facility proposed by Menlo Atherton Little League. Staff also recommends that council direct the city attorney to prepare a final facility agreement based upon the approved business points, and also to authorize the city manager to execute the facility agreement between the town of Atherton and Menlo Atherton Little League. As a bit of background, as stated in previous council reports, staff believes the passage of Measure M by Atherton residents in the November 2012 election established parameters and approved construction of the following improvements: permanent covered seating for 200 spectators and covered dugouts, permanent 210-foot perimeter fencing and permanent foul poles along both baselines, permanent electronic scoreboard, resurfacing of the existing field, removable outfield fencing, and new restroom facilities. A more detailed discussion of specific project elements is contained in Attachment B of your council report. At the September 4th, 2013 council meeting, City Council reviewed and provided direction regarding the scope of improvements to the Little League Field and surrounding areas of Holbrook Palmer Park. This discussion focused on specific improvements proposed by Menlo Atherton Little League, recommendations by the Planning Commission, and staff interpretation of the Measure M ballot results. More specifically, council discussion focused on seating structure and dugouts, foul line fencing, foul poles, electronic scoreboard, and maintenance responsibilities. As a result of council direction and subsequent meetings with Menlo Atherton Little League, Menlo Atherton Little League has agreed to modify a number of design features, including reducing the quantity of permanent fencing. So in other words, rather than have permanent fencing all the way out to the foul poles, they've agreed to limit the permanent fencing to the area from the backstop structure to just beyond the bullpen area. Menlo Atherton Little League is also agreeable to removable versus permanent foul poles. However, requests the placement of a permanent flagpole combination flagpole foul pole in right field. With regards to the seating structure and scoreboard, Menlo Atherton Little League does not support reduction of the seating size area, and they do not support use of a removable scoreboard. The staff report also provides a detailed description of business points to be addressed by the facility agreement. To summarize, the business points identifies the scope of improvements to be constructed by Menlo Atherton Little League. The Little League will be responsible for the design and the hiring of the construction contractors. The town will review and approve all plans, and the project will go through the normal building permit process. Menlo Atherton Little League will pay for staff costs, including planning, review of design, legal, and pay all fees associated with the building plan review and issuance of the building permit. Menlo Atherton Little League will be responsible for funding the repair and replacement of the constructed facilities. They will also continue to pay the town of Atherton an annual use fee for the term of the facility agreement. The term of the facility agreement is proposed to include an initial 10-year term with 2 5-year options, so a total potential of 20 years. Mall will also contribute funds for the repair and refurbishment of the tennis courts, and they will also contribute funds for park beautification improvements to be determined by the town. So in conclusion, the City Council is required to comply with the clear provisions of Measure M. Where there is ambiguity or areas outside the provisions of Measure M, City Council has the ability to recommend and approve alternative solutions. The project design elements outlined in the staff recommended business points is consistent with Measure M, inclusive of the concessions agreed to by Menlo, Atherton, Little League. So in summary, staff recommends that the City Council review and approve the business points as outlined in your staff report. Direct the city attorney to prepare a facility agreement based upon the approved business points, and authorize the city manager to execute the facility agreement between the town and the Menlo Atherton Little League. That concludes staff presentation, and we also have representatives from Menlo Atherton Little League here this evening, and Bob Hellman, I believe, would like to address the council.
Thank you, Mike, Mayor, members of council. I was asked recently to specifically address the length and magnitude of the discussions that have gone on this project, where we do make it hard to actually try to donate something to the city from time to time, don't we? This has been a 4-year project since we started. Elizabeth and I were speaking earlier, and I was reminded that we started this prior to our well-known local resident and famous baseball player turning 80, and he'll be 83 in May. So if you want to benchmark the passage of time here. But if I look at the original concepts that we came up with to try to improve the safety, the quality of the facilities for the children of Atherton, as well as for the various spectators and others who use the park around the area when baseball is being played or practiced. I have a nice long list, which I have copies of for members of council, of the various changes that have occurred in the design. And in no particular order, they include going from a traditional format of having seating on both sides of the field, one for one team and one for the other, to consolidating that in one facility in the back. Going from having lighting on the field to no lighting whatsoever, consistent with the desire of a number of the local residents who live around the park. Going from a part of the design that included, not for the benefit of Little League, but actually for the benefit of the Atherton Dames, having a little snack shack that could be used as a fundraiser for Dames during all the baseball games, and thus the elimination of that. Relocating a part of the walking path to avoid the removal of any trees during the construction process. The relocation of the permanent scoreboard in such a form which makes it less visible, certainly from the roadways surrounding the park, even though it does block the ability for people in the outfield to see the scoreboard, which is too bad for players involved. Adding a sprinkler system to the grandstand area. This is an open, four-sided, no walls, open-sided grandstand area, but we have sprinklers on it. They don't even have sprinklers at the grandstand area in AT&T Park, but we will. Adding a potential removable foul pole in left field, but as part of the design and as part of our final planning effort, when the topic of removing the right field pole came up, it came to our attention that it's quite difficult to actually find a place in the entire park where the American flag is being flown. There actually is a small flagpole. It actually sits right in the middle of the old buildings. But given that part of our job is to train and educate youth, we felt it only appropriate to have the right field foul pole be a flagpole so that we too can acknowledge our citizenship at the beginning of every one of our games. And in addition to that, we thought it appropriate, since to our knowledge there's nothing like this in the city, to at the base of that foul pole have a plaque recognizing the service of the veterans of this community, of which there are a number, both past and present residents. Changing the fencing in the outfield to that which is removable, which is going to require, I might note, not only additional investment on our part, but regular work on the part of staff to pull that up and store it, and so therefore we had to expand the storage part of the plans here. And finally, and most recently, as Mike noted, removable fencing from the end of the bullpen area to the foul poles, which is going to require, again, additional investment and additional staff time. I think at this point the only open item that we have in all of this after 4 years is a couple of little details around, how and when and who is going to remove a foul pole in the left field. But we're very grateful for the patience of everybody involved at the city. There is no roadmap that I've been able to find as to how you donate a project to the city. I'd encourage us to put one together at some point for future benefit of the community. But also I'm very grateful standing up here for all the work and effort of the people on our team, because we are a big team here at Menlo Atherton Little League who have gone through this, and so thank you to, we've got a bunch of them here tonight for the folks who put in the time and effort. And we look forward to the City Council's decision, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. I understand that we have another speaker, Mike. Was Phil going to speak?
Yeah, Phil, on behalf of the Planning Commission, I believe was supposed to speak.
Mayor Weiss, council members, I'm Philip Lively, Vice Chairman of the Atherton Planning Commission. In July last year, we sent to you our recommendations on the Little League proposal to improve the field, the stands, and the grounds in the Hope at Palmer Park. We had held 3 public meetings on the plans provided to us, and we understood clearly the wording of the ballot measure as passed by the voters in 2012. I think you have a copy of our recommendations, and in summary they are these. Improvement is needed, but the Little League plans are too monumental, too large in scale, counter to retaining the rustic character of our park. We were unanimous in support of removal of fences, foul poles, and scoreboard at the conclusion of the baseball season. We made other recommendations to lessen the impact on the park. The leading ones are these. Significantly reduce the overall size of the building. Improve the entire playing surface, not just minor repairs. Drainage and safety issues caused by the change in elevation from the playing field to the tennis courts must be studied and corrected. Lighting. All lighting shall be minimal, downlit, and there will be no field lights. Maintenance. If the town is to be responsible for field care, if the town is, why then is there a need for a tractor or a storage shed for the tractor? However, if the tractor storage and maintenance remains under the building, codes regarding storage of flammables must be strongly enforced. Snack bar. Not allowed ever. Signage and ads. No signs, ads, or sponsorship displays are allowed. Amplified sound. No amplified sound allowed ever. Park is unique and rural, and the park can accommodate and improve the Little League ballpark after some changes are made to make the current plans in front of you. I urge you to carefully study the effects on the park and find a solution which will work well for future Little Leaguers, other users of our park, while retaining the unique characteristic of our park. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Bring it back to council. Any questions of staff and or the applicant and or Phil Lively? Starting off with Jim.
I had a comment, a public comment, which I put in here.
I put a couple
Speaker cards?
No, it's not yet.
We're not at that point yet. I apologize. These comments go first, and then we ask the public for comments afterwards. Thank you. Back to council. Any questions of the applicant, staff, and or Mr. Lively? Jim? No?
Well, I would just say this, that the Planning Commission spent a lot of time on this, and there were, as Phil says, there were 3 public meetings, and therefore, you know, I certainly think it's something that was shared with the community, and I think we need to take note of it.
Thank you, Jim. Questions for, again, under the question. Any questions, Mr. Beloya?
I have a question. Mike, one of your points is that Little League, well, that the town will have primary responsibility for maintenance of the field. And the Little League will be allowed to supplement the maintenance in a similar manner to what they do with the town of Menlo Park. Can you describe how you see that's going to work?
Actually, if I can ask Steve to address that particular question.
Mr. Tyler?
Steve, there's a question.
I'm sorry,
You got the floor.
My question was, the staff proposal is that the town maintenance have primary responsibility for maintenance of the field, and that Little League be able to supplement that maintenance in a manner similar to the way that Menlo Park allows Little League to supplement the maintenance in the Menlo Park field. Can you describe the way you think that's going to work?
Well, pretty much the same way it is right now. Staff performs a mowing of the entire park once a week. If Little League requires more mowing than that, we have that done by contract, and they can bring in they have a little tractor and they mow it a second time to get it ready for their Saturday games. They usually do that on Friday afternoon or Monday afternoons, I believe, so it's ready during the week. We normally mow on Mondays. In the past, Little League put in all the sprinkler system and paid for it to begin with. As things got broken along the way, we would fix them and bill Little League. Currently, Little League now has enough volunteers and helpers out there that they're, on a very regular basis. When the minute they see a little piece of turf start to brown out, they'll test the sprinklers and do a repair on a sprinkler. They're not big giant issues to do out there because they're there to see them. They also do things like care for the infield on a daily basis. They're out there and they scrape the infield. They do all the chalk markings themselves. So that would be the shared maintenance. And like I said, at one point we sent a once a year bill. I believe our current agreement says Little League will meet with the city manager in July of every year to settle that bill, and I would give them a month by month accounting of what we spent in extra fertilizing. We currently fertilize twice a year. We would do their fields once a month so that grass would come up greener and whatnot. They're currently just bringing out a bag of fertilizer and kind of doing it themselves now. I called the city of Menlo Park and asked them specifically what type of a current agreement they have. They have one in writing, and it's exactly like ours was. Just kind of a mutual, the groundskeepers get together, they have their guy, we have our guy, and we're doing our stuff and they're doing their stuff, and it's been, the field has definitely improved over the last few years that we've been doing that.
Question for Little League. Is that satisfactory to Little League in terms of the maintenance, and can you also comment on the need for the Little League tractor?
Yeah, it actually has been working pretty well over the last, I think it's been 2 years, Steve, that we've been doing this on an active basis. Of course, we need equipment to be able to do that, which is why the storage that we have within the plants, which sits right underneath the seating areas, is for a combination of tractor as well as all this fencing that we need to store, and foul pole we need to store, assuming we can find one that comes apart in pieces and things like that. But the impetus for this project, going all the way back to 4 years ago, was really because a lot of this wasn't being done. We were getting, we were having kids injured, and we were having gopher holes that were causing tripping, and the grass was dying mid-season, and so on and so forth. And so what had historically been a relationship of reliance by us on the park staff to care for the field even during the season, it got to the point where we felt like we had to step in and supplement what was being done. It was very active in this initial couple of years, and now it's really almost hand in glove is the way I would describe it, and the way it's working, which is, as Steve mentioned, identical to what we do in Menlo Park with a number of our facilities over there.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councilman Goya? Seeing none.
This is to Mike. In your report, you indicate the removable foul pole that is being looked at is 20 feet in length, and 5 feet will go in the ground, and 15 feet above ground. So my question was twofold. Is it a collapsible pole? And how will it be removed? Will it require a crane or other type of heavy equipment that will be rolled onto the lawn of the park, or which may cause damage? I just don't know how it would be removed.
At the request of council, the Menlo Atherton Delivery did a pretty extensive search of what's available in terms of temporary poles. And what we've been presented so far is a single pole, not a collapsible multi-section pole. And so that's what we're assuming at this point. As far as the type of equipment that is going to be required, we don't really know at this point. I mean, that's going to be part of the design details of what type of anchoring, etc. But as I think I stated in the report, we don't expect that it's going to take. I don't believe it's going to require a crane. It will probably require something like a backhoe, which is basically a tractor, and several people to do it. But again, once we identify the specific pole, and that will be done as part of the final design, then we'll determine the equipment requirements. However, we do not expect that it's going to require any specialized equipment, any large cranes, as we take a look at the anchoring details, and as we work with Menlo Atherton Little League to come up with an agreement on the specific removable pole product, then at that point we'll determine what's going to work best. And of course, keeping in mind that we want this to be a non-destructive activity, because it's going to be done twice a year. We're going to put it up and we're going to take it down. So,
just a follow-up question: how would this backhoe access this pole out in left field?
It would drive out there.
Drive out over the walking path, over the grass.
Well, I mean, yeah, over the grass.
Okay.
And again, we don't see that as any particular problem.
You currently have a backhoe, right?
Yes, the town has a backhoe, yes.
In the park. Any other questions from council? We're going to go ahead and close questions from council and move on to questions from the public. Town clerk, can you speak with those up?
We have 4 speakers, item 14. We start with Julie Quinlan.
Julie Quinlan.
Hi, as you know, I'm Julie Quinlan, and I come here wearing 2 hats. I am the mother of a Little League player, and I can tell you this is a wonderful organization, and I take my hats off to these guys. I also come here as an Atherton resident.